Pro tip: for the best viewing experience, go big by going to this icon at the lower right, click on it, and enjoy.
I'm Huell Howitzer, and this is Southern California Gold. Welcome back to the Los Angeles International Airport, where today we are flying to St. Louis in search of a rare 1970 Cougar and a Southern California perspective of the world-famous St. Louis Arch. Getting to St. Louis from Los Angeles will be a pretty nifty trick, given that there is the global COVID-19 pandemic that has canceled over 90% of the world's flights. Be that as it may, sitting in the back of this American Airlines 737, we are the latest paying passengers to experience jet flight here at Los Angeles International. Now, I don't expect to see a plaque commemorating this event, but given that we are on the same runway and on the same airline that launched the first U.S. coast-to-coast jet flight with paying passengers, we think there should be a plaque commemorating that accomplishment as we start out on our takeoff roll down LA's runway 25. Visions of this runway's first jet takeoff come to mind, while memories of the last 707 takeoff come to mind. This same historic runway is where we now pass the 150 miles an hour needed to climb like a homesick angel. Or, as our cameraman Freddie puts it, we are climbing like we're in an elevator that can go 25 to 35 miles an hour straight up as we fly towards our plane change in Dallas, Texas. As we climb, you might notice that a climb through SoCal's Mediterranean climate makes it a typically smoother climb than a typical climb just about anywhere else in the world. In spite of today's rare cloud cover replacing the blue Pacific, you can still see where we started from. You can also see some other landmarks familiar to Southern Californians. The old Marineland site was about here. The Marineland site also shares this picturesque Palos Verdes Peninsula with the historic home of Freddie's friend Tom. As we make our way to our cruise altitude of 7 miles, we see the LA River meeting the Rio Hondo River in the classic car-friendly city of Downey. On a partial list of local accomplishments, Downey is the city that built the Apollo space capsule, the space shuttle, and Downey is the city that recorded this classic car cruising hit. As you look 15 miles to the south of Downey, you see the historic and world-famous Queen Mary cruise ship. 30 miles to the northwest, you see the high-rises of downtown Los Angeles. It is here where we see the U.S. Bank building at 1,018 feet tall, which makes it the tallest building on the West Coast. Over here, we see the Los Angeles City Hall, which was also known as the Daily Planet building a long time ago. You know, it's a great day to be in the air when you can see the Queen Mary, downtown LA, the birthplace of the DC-8, 9, and 10, the birthplace of the space shuttle, the first landing spot for the shuttle, and the Sequoia National Forest area, all without turning your head. Still smooth as silk up here as we cross the Orange County line approaching Disneyland, which is now pretty empty due to COVID. Look at that! They are waving at us from the Westminster Mall. From high altitudes, big 23-story buildings along our route today are going to look surprisingly small. High altitude also makes distance between places look a lot shorter than they actually are. For example, from your house near Garden Grove's Pacifica High School, Freddie, it's about 5 miles to the Garden Grove Car Show, where the Cougar is going to spend a lot of Friday nights. Your 2-hour bike route to Mom's house, past the old Panasonic building, the Los Al racetrack, through Long Beach's El Dorado Park, up the San Gabriel River, past Cerritos College, into Downey, looks much shorter than the 20 miles it actually is. From there, Disneyland is 17 miles down the 5 freeway. As we get ready to put the Garden Grove Car Show and Disneyland into the rearview mirror, it's time to remind you, that's the altitude telling you that 90 miles to Edwards Air Force Base is a short walk from here. As we get ready to cross the border into Arizona, our plane spotters down there in Blythe are looking for us. They are looking for us in all the wrong places because we have no contrail today, like the contrails spotted over Blythe yesterday. Check this out, Freddie. There are plane spotters marching up the Colorado River Bridge footpath along the I-10. That bridge looks pretty small from way up here. The lush fields that surround Blythe sure have more plane spotters than usual. On the streets, there are no auto accidents yet involving plane spotters, but the day is young. We appreciate everyone's efforts. It's the thought that counts. So here we are, 7 miles above Blythe, California, traveling over 3/4 the speed of sound, getting ready to cross the Colorado River into Arizona with Freddie. What could go wrong? Well, that's for next time on Southern California Gold. I'm Huell Howitzer, and this is Southern California Gold. Almost 500 miles back, we crossed the New Mexico border into Texas. And, Freddie, get a shot of this. Those are the Saginaw, Texas grain elevators, the largest grain elevators on the planet. These elevators also have the global distinction of being around the corner from Warren High School Bear and Freddie's friend, Steve. Up front, the pilots are getting a view of the Dallas airport that we can only dream about back here. Freddie, go up there and get a shot of that.
Very soon, on the gate in about 25 minutes.
Freddie may be on his last ever visit to a cockpit in flight. Any airline wanting to prove us wrong need only to contact us.
John.
Afternoon. Story short, after Freddie's emotional support blonde talked law enforcement out of arresting Freddie, we grabbed a headline or two and then it was time to board our connecting flight. As we climb toward St. Louis, you can see what we mean about California having some of the smoothest flying weather compared to just about anywhere else in the world at any time. Don't believe me? Just look at this window frame. Unfortunately, COVID still has a grip on the shopping centers. At this time of the day, that parking lot is normally full. From the sands of the Pacific Ocean to the banks of the mighty Mississippi River, we've done it all today. Well, almost all. Got to thank the American Airlines crew for today's magic carpet ride that was made to look a lot easier than it actually
Wonderful
was.
Ride. Thank you.
Long before sunset, we find we are the last arrival of the day. The airport and the airport stores are now closed. Such is another sign of traveling during a global pandemic. Freddie, get a shot of this. Get a shot of our ride on an empty rent-a-car shuttle. Social distancing sure has given us a lot more elbow room. Luck has it that the car we reserved isn't back yet, so they are upgrading us to a Prius. Cool beans! By now, you have figured out that just seconds ago I said, Freddie, stop here and get a shot of this. This is our first ever look at the St. Louis Arch, which we'll take a closer look at after we go car shopping with Roger. Car shopping with Roger is for next time on Southern California Gold. Before we go, I have a friendly disclaimer from our legal department. These cockpit scenes represent wishful thinking on our part. Going to the cockpit never happened on this particular Roger venture. Darn it! As noted earlier, going to the cockpit in flight is illegal. Don't even think about it. And while we're at it, quit being so dad-blasted rude to your flight attendants and customer service people. George, I don't know what day of law school they taught you that dad-blasted is a legal term, but okay. Any airline wanting a positive spotlight by making our wishful thinking come true is invited to contact the world's smallest video production house. Thank you. We now return you to the Roger venture. I'm Huell Howitzer, and this is Southern California Gold. Driving 112 miles during our stay in the St. Louis-O'Fallon, Illinois area has made our Prius thirsty for a couple of gallons of $1.99 gas. We're buying $1.99 gas that isn't exactly $1.99 in California right now, which is today's destination. But wait, there's more. Cars can go farther with non-California gas. In rough numbers, this non-California gas formula can produce 10 miles to the gallon for every 8.5 mpg you'll get from a California pump. This is due to California's environmental regulations that are in a class by themselves. Now, as we say goodbye to the Arch, it's time to say hello to the St. Louis Airport, currently experiencing the new COVID-19 normal.
Attention please. St. Louis Lambert's International Airport is working to keep travelers and communities safe from the threats of the coronavirus. Passengers are now required by county orders to wear a face cover while at the airport. Additionally, seat rations preventive active. Please keep in mind the closest exit may be behind you, and in the event of an emergency, leave all belongings.
As we say goodbye to the St. Louis Airport, I hope that it and we can soon say goodbye to COVID-19 as we enjoy our moment of getting above it all. Not much new in the news, so we get our gate assignment and, oh, look at this, Freddie. We get this free train ride to our gate, and not a moment to spare. I have an idea. Let's call this segment Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. It is less than 3 hours and 1,235 miles to touchdown at Los Angeles Airport. And it looks like our connecting flight out of Dallas has some company today. At 36 minutes and about 230 miles to touchdown, we find ourselves crossing the Colorado River, a little north of Blythe, which means we also just crossed the border into California. Meanwhile, on the I-10 pedestrian bridge, the plane spotters are still looking for us in all the wrong places. The same is true for the plane spotters gathered on North Broadway. 18 minutes and 125 miles from touchdown, we dodged some thunderclouds over Palm Springs. As we punch through to the other side of the thunderstorm, we take a moment to think about Tony and Terry, just to name two of the very fine people who are resting at the Riverside National Cemetery. This hallowed ground also tells us that we have 65 miles to go and 13 minutes to touchdown. At 7 minutes to touchdown, we see the novelty of a free-flowing 57 freeway and the heart of Anaheim's Platinum Triangle. The Triangle is essentially a place where the bicycles, buses, trains, the Angels baseball team, the Mighty Ducks hockey team, and nearby neighbor Mickey Mouse all come together. Look at that, Freddie. People in the Triangle are searching for us. Good luck. We are moving over 300 miles an hour, flying 1.5 miles above the ground and roughly 15 miles away. Over Whittier's Whitwood Mall, Roger tries to find his home near the Los Alamitos Military Airfield about 20 miles away. Close but no cigar. Approaching Downey, we find ourselves down to the last mile above the ground. We can see Catalina Island almost 50 miles away, Long Beach Airport, and everything else in between. As we cross over Downey's east coast, which is the Rio San Gabriel River, we are doing so at roughly 200 miles an hour. This means it'll take us an exact minute to fly coast to coast across Downey. And Roger's childhood home is now passing right under the belly of the plane. Here we see the 5 and 605 interchange, Downey's Rio San Gabriel Park, East Junior High, now Doty Middle School, Stonewood Shopping Center, Downey High School, the Civic Center, Warren High School, and Apollo Park, home of the Downey Historical Society. It's amazing to see how much interest there has been in our plane today. I think that bear is waving at us. As we fly north of the Los Amigos Golf Course, we cross Downey's west coast, also known as the Rio Hondo River. As this river meets the Los Angeles River, we enjoy the novelty of a free-flowing 710 freeway. Out the window, we can see a lot of streets that'll soon be graced by a 1970 Cougar. For those that haven't been in Southern California for a while, the 105 Century Freeway was opened in 1994 with a light rail line down the center. Today it is moving unusually well due to COVID-19, as is the Harbor 110 Freeway. Oh, Freddie, get a shot of this! Cars actually moving on a free-flowing San Diego 405 freeway. And we're back to the same runway complex where our Midwest car shopping adventure began. Heck, we are back on the same runway complex where U.S. passenger jet travel began, all while passing the airport's first ever building that dates back to 1930. Another building we're passing nearby is the old West Imperial Terminal, which is now being used as the Flight Path Museum. fine people, great exhibits, free parking, and I could go on and on and on all day long. We'd like to thank the Flight Path Museum for their help in getting access to these fine, historic Los Angeles World Airports photos. As the next Roger venture goes into the planning stages, take a moment to check out the novelty of a nearly deserted Los Angeles International Airport. We'd like to remind you that people, organizations, and business appear solely due to our own first-hand experiences with them. Your experience could be different, although we have our doubts it would be. No person, organization, or business paid in any way, shape, manner, or form for their appearance in this production, which is very unfortunate for our bottom line. At least we now know what a Roger venture is. I'm Huell Howitzer, and here's to a better future. Thanks for watching.